Welcome, everyone. This is Good Men Project Dreams. I'm Ken Goldstein, and today we're here with Alan Mittelman, the founder and CEO of Eagle Eyes. Alan, welcome to Good Men Project Dreams.
Thank you.
Tell me about the early days. Tell me about starting.
Scientists at Jet Propulsion Laboratories developed a way to protect the human eye from harsh rays from when the astronauts were working in space.
Yeah.
And they took it as far as they could, but they were investing, and they just didn't seem to have the ability to get out to market. So they asked me to step in and get involved.
What did you see that they didn't see?
The technology was new. It protected human eyes, which sounded like a wonderful thing to do. And there wasn't a tremendous awareness of what they had done. So it felt there was a lot of room for growth in that particular area.
So we hear a lot in startups the whole idea of vision. Did you have a vision for this company?
Originally, the vision was to see how many people around the world we could start protecting their eyes with. That was, I thought, a great thing to start.
So you really focused on customers. You were starting with what you could do for other people.
I had spent my earlier years in the automotive business, in manufacturing and design and retail, and so I understood what needed to be done, but I started as a party of one again. It was just myself.
Now you said again, so this is not your first startup. You've started other companies.
Yes, I have.
Tell me about that.
I spent earlier part of my life in the automotive industry, and from importing to manufacturing, design, development for new car industry and aftermarket.
So how long did you have what was the first company called?
First company was called Mittelman.
And how long did you have that company?
20 years.
So you had one company for 20 years, and then you've had another company for 20 years. Did you ever work for anybody?
In my earlier life,
yeah,
which wasn't much before, I started my first business when I was 18.
Yeah, I tell people I'm a corporate refugee. Are you a corporate refugee?
I don't think I was a great employee.
Yeah? Tell me what was not good about you as an employee.
I think the biggest problem is that I saw doing things my way not necessarily coincided with what the owners and the managers wanted to do.
So this is what makes you a good CEO.
Well, I understand that there's compromise.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I've learned, that it's not all about me.
Yeah.
And that's been probably, it's taken me longer to understand that than I would have liked.
So in the first company, you went from being an employee, and I'm sure you were a better employee than you're telling us, but someone who wanted to do it your own way.
Right.
You gave up a paycheck for that.
Gave up a paycheck, and July 4th of one year, I started a retail store on Santa Monica Boulevard.
And how was that first year?
It was fun. It was tumultuous. We were sued immediately by the neighbor across the way. It was a Volkswagen dealer.
That sounds like fun. Yeah. And how long was it before you were back to making the kind of money you were making as an employee?
Ken, it was never about the money.
No?
No, it was about independence. It was about an ability to make a decision and then deal with the consequence, whatever it was. And that's what I liked about business. And so that's what got me started.
What was the hardest part of making that first transition from having a boss, having a health plan, having a paycheck, and now it's just you?
Well, in those years, it was $2 an hour, so it really wasn't any of that. But
you didn't give up that much.
No, I wasn't giving up a lot in the early years, but it was an opportunity that I could see to do things for myself and make more of what I could do independently than working for someone else.
Yeah. I sense you really had some kind of a dream inside of you.
I did. I enjoyed what I was doing. That was the first part of it. In early years, I was racing cars and building motors and doing things that I enjoyed, so it was an evolution of that, but it turned into manufacturing apparel and specialty equipment and all kinds of things for the industry. So it evolved, as in it no longer was just the small retail stores. It became manufacturing and other aspects of business.
So the first business, you had what we would call an exit.
Yes.
I take it was successful.
Yes.
And you could have gone to the beach, drank wine, played golf, all that?
Yes.
And?
And I didn't.
No.
There were it happened to be right here at Jet Propulsion Laboratories, two scientists, one a scientist and physicist who had a consulting company, and they called me up after I sold my business, knowing I had a little pile of cash.
Yeah.
And they said, we have this wonderful technology, and we've put all we can into it, and we need some help because our patents are going to expire in 72 hours.
72 hours.
They said they filed patents all around the world, and but they didn't realize there's an annuity, and when the annuity came due, they were stuck.
And you just knew right away, like that was what you were going to go do?
Yes.
Wow.
I called my attorney and told him what I was going to do, and he said, I don't understand it, but it's water under the bridge, and 6 figures later, it was a lot more than that.
6 figures out of your pocket.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was simple to start.
And that was it, right? The cash just started flowing, and customers showed up, and you lived happily ever after, right? Just nice and easy?
No.
No.
Went through the, working from a small one-bedroom house that we rented just because we couldn't get it into a warehouse, and it just, one person came aboard, and then another, and we started collecting our thoughts as to what we want to do for the long term. The company didn't have a direction, and we had to focus on a direction of where it would be, because it was a science, it was a technology, and how do we incorporate it into something that's useful, that people would enjoy, besides just what it provided.
So you turned it into a consumer product.
Consumer product.
Yeah, tell us about the consumer product.
We developed a line. The original line was called Sun Tiger, and the patents that we held were the blue light blocking lens technology, UV radiation and blue light. And
best sunglasses out there.
They were the most highly protective and visually enhancing sunglass that was on the market at that particular time, and still we've increased the technology to where we believe we still have that edge. Patents have now expired, so we market now under the brand Eagle Eyes, and that's what we've been doing for some years, and we've taken it from domestic, which we produce commercials for the international market, and then they take it and they domesticate it there, their own host, and so we're starting to spread our influence with that.
I've been on your site, eagleeyes.com. The products are beautiful.
We started with 2 television products, and now there's 178 SKUs, and it's more than we ever wanted. We may have to contract it because it's gotten a little out of hand. It's a little bit unwieldy, but there's a demand, there's a need for what we do.
Yeah. Do you ever feel stable, like this is it, it's running well, I'm out of the woods, there's not going to be any more problems?
I do, and that's when I start to worry. I wonder when it's going to change. When is this good fortune going to revert to something that's familiar from the past? These hurdles that we come into, in business every day.
Yeah. Do you ever get over the hurdles?
For me, I've spent. If I had anything that I could do over, I would start by finding those good people that have eventually come to my company, but I'd find them a lot earlier. I spent a lot of time trying to do everything myself, and I really wasn't looking at what my core competence or my enjoyment was. I was just trying to put my nose in everything because I thought I could do it, and it ended up being that I was stepping on people that could do a better job than I could, and that was taking me away from the things that could help the company grow. So I'm finally starting, even after all these years, starting to get that under control.
You're a people person.
It is the wonderful people that I've surrounded myself with in my business, and we share the common dream now. It's no longer my dream, and the common dream is to have something wonderful to get out to as many people as possible.
What's your legacy? What do you want people to remember when you're not running Eagle Eyes anymore?
I guess that what was my vision, whether it was prior businesses, this business, or maybe in a future business, that there was value to people in the world, that I was doing something not just for my own personal satisfaction. And I think that's probably the most important thing to me right now.
I think that's a pretty positive legacy. That's pretty serious stuff.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions from the audience. We take a couple questions?
Sure.
Great. Let's see what they got. They're writing them down for me in a big font so I can read them. What new products are coming out?
I would love to tell you, but you don't have enough time. But we've gone from being one technology for our protection for sunglasses to night driving, computer, and other aspects of our daily life. And so I've been working with technology that will allow us to make products that serve many different functions rather than just one.
Yeah. Another question from the audience? What do you think is the biggest risk that you take as an entrepreneur?
I'd say it's that leap of faith and trust in your instincts. My instincts, I'll speak from my personal experience. I'm very easily influenced by what comes to me in the way of input. And I found that 10 people can tell me that my idea is great, you ought to do it, it's fantastic. And one person will say is, I think that's been done before, or what makes you think that's going to fly? And that's the stuff that sometimes stays with me. And I think if anything, I have to quiet that noise and take whatever is positive and take the things that are not positive at face value. I don't want to ignore them because they may be absolutely right, but I can't let my emotions swing left and right as they do as people come into my life with new projects.
One more question from the audience, probably one you probably expected. Did you have to raise capital to scale the business?
I have self-funded my businesses most of my life. And I shouldn't say self-funded. If there were ever to be a line of credit from the bank, that's not really self-funding. But most of it started, my first business was, I sold my Volkswagen to start business. It was $700, so that's where that started. And that is one thing that's important. Don't ignore the need to capitalize your business. If it deserves it, and you're going to hamstring it by trying to self-fund, sometimes it's the best thing to let people in that can do something for your business and move it along at a rapid pace. Money alone won't cure a problem. I've seen more startups fail because people were just throwing money at efforts rather than really thinking about what the need for the money was. But that's the one thing that I think that I've tired myself by trying to self-fund for so long in so many directions.
Alan, you've been terrific. Hey, one more question before we end here. Got people here who are entrepreneurs, people watching who are entrepreneurs. What's the one piece of advice that they don't know that you can offer them? What do they need to know?
Good question. I think everyone has the opportunity and I think the ability to become an entrepreneur. I think that it's not, you're not born with it. It's not something that has to be culture. You have to believe in yourself. I have to believe in what I do, and then at some point take that leap of faith to do something, turn it from an idea, which that goes on 20, I think every one of my waking hours is some idea rolling around in there, but not a lot of it comes out. And that's the difference between, I think, an entrepreneur and someone that has an idea, is that the entrepreneur says, okay, I have to do something to get it out of my head. I can't check out with other people anymore. It's a good idea, it's a bad idea. I just have to do it. And I think once you get into that mode, the rest of it kind of is behind you because you're moving forward every day. And that's what we have to do. That's in our business. That's what we have to do is take, and there'll be lots of bumps. For sure, be prepared for a hard time. It may not occur. You may be one of the lucky few. But for the most part, be prepared for the tough times. Know they're going to be there and deal with it on a day-to-day basis.
You're terrific. I can't wait to have you back in 10 years. Tell us about the exit. Thanks so much, Alan Mittelman. You're terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.